Whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Don't know where we're going, can't remember where we're gone. And the other road looks better than the one we're traveling on. You got what you wanted, now you're longing for something else. Some kind of consolation, I had direction for yourself. I'm not saying that I'll quit the game. I'm not saying that it ain't insane. But what I'm not saying, you're anticipating. I'm just wondering if it's still the same. A whole romantic complications, I know they never ended right. Instead of having gratitude, you have a sense of spite. We're lost in all this craziness and changing every day. We're trying to get from here to there, but we never find our way. And I'm not saying that I'll quit the game. And I'm not saying that it ain't insane. But what I'm not saying, you're anticipating. I'm just wondering if it's still the same. You walk about the future, you walk about the past, you walk about all this exploration, but all of this strife, you still got no philosophy of how to live your life. It's to be okay, but you tell me that it's progress. I'm not saying you're anticipating. I'm just wondering if it's still the same. I'm just wondering if it's still the same.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Dimos Papadimas, welcome back.
How
and
are you?
company.
It's good to be
Doing
here.
great.
It's good to be
Doing
here.
great. How about introducing everyone?
Okay, well, my name is Dimos Papadimas. I'm singer-songwriter here, and let everybody introduce themselves. We got start with Dave Lynn over here.
I'm Dave Lynn.
Dave?
Dave Lynn on acoustic guitar.
Mostly electric.
Mostly electric guitar. Okay, well, let's start this. My name's Dimos Papadimas. I'm a singer-songwriter based here in Youngstown. I play guitar and harmonica and some bouzouki as well. We've got Ralph Rich over here, who's been playing drums. Been playing with me for 5 years at
About
this
5
point.
years, yeah. I'll be doing the percussion in the studio today.
Right. So he's got little egg shakers there.
Shakers and some brushes. So.
And then over here we have
I'm
Caitlin.
Caitlin Hedge. I've been with them about a year. I'm a fiddler, and it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to move. I want Guy to stall for, if you don't mind. Let me move this here.
And then shortly after that, Caitlin Hedge joined, and we put in work on this EP. I mean, what we're promoting right now is this new record. It's called the Lucky You EP. Over the past year, pretty much, we've been working on and off on this, and it's an EP, so it's 5 tracks. It's an extended play single. And we're happy to get it out. And I think really working on these songs, I mean, the live gigs, fairly consistent, gigging over the past year. We've slowed down a little bit this fall, but I think, the main thing to really getting any band lineup to solidify is just a lot of gigs and, just doing the songs again and again. Repetition, helps with that. But I think working on these songs in the studio really helped bring everything together, as to be expected.
What was the original plan to do a full album, like a full, 10 songs, or?
Right. The intention basically was to have a full record, but we put in enough time on these ones, and these just happen to be the ones that are ready to go, so we just didn't want to sit on them any longer.
Yeah.
And, close of the year is always a good time to release an album. People are a little more receptive right now than, they will be in a month or two.
Is that right?
I think so. You sell a little more around the holiday season.
Or to sell it, yeah.
And
Hey,
there's more.
they make great gifts.
They do.
Stock.
But it's
the
also
music.
nice to put something out as sort of like the year in review, sort of like it's like this year's efforts.
And I think you do that because I like how you threw how long on the live
There's a
version.
live track on here. As I said, it's an EP, and I think probably what we're going to work on is, there's a lot of projects that we're kind of doing right now. So there's these 5 songs that are on the EP. And of course, we record here in Youngstown at Amprion Recorder, which is run by Pete Revere. Many know him from The Infidels or The Deadbeat Poets. But we're probably going to work towards another EP of Demos Papadimas songs. But in the meantime, there are a few other projects we're doing. I think we're going to start doing some Greek folk songs. We've been doing a little bit of that with the Bouzouki at the live sets. So I think we might do like a 5-track EP of old Greek folk songs.
Samyotisa?
Well, not exactly.
Not quite that far back, right?
The Samyotika is a little different. That's more...
So what kind? Tell us.
Well, it would be rebetiko music, which is sort of like the Greek blues, where what you're talking about is more island, like traditional songs. But anyway,
go ahead.
We're digressing a little bit, but so anyway, but I think as you mentioned, one of them's a live track. We've had a lot of live shows recorded as well, so we may be doing a live release. And another project is with this independent label out of Pittsburgh, Get Hip. They're interested in having me do a stripped down kind of solo acoustic folk record. So there's a lot of projects.
Get Hip, I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects we're juggling, and we had these songs completed, so it was just like, okay, let's just put it out and get it to some radio stations and sell some copies and keep moving on.
Not too many bands do live CDs. Like, it's pretty unheard of. That would be.
Yeah, they don't.
Locally.
Right. Well, as I mentioned, Pete Revere, who has the studio where we record, he also runs sound at Cedars.
Right.
The local club here. So he has all the equipment, and he can record the live sets, and then we can sit through and pick apart and go through all that.
It was interesting what we were talking about just 10 minutes ago about the upcoming Cedars show. These guys are playing at Cedars Friday.
We are.
Tell us.
We are. Well, it's the EP release show. We're playing this Friday at Cedars West End, which is on Steel Street. Some people still don't realize that Cedars moved away from the downtown, but
a long time ago now.
Yeah,
years.
It's about 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
But so we're doing the EP release show there. There's an opening act from Pittsburgh called The Local, and we're starting it earlier. A lot of Cedar shows are known to start typically pretty late, like 11 o'clock, but we're not doing that. We're going to start at 9 o'clock. Opener will be on at 9. We'll probably be on like an hour after that, like 10:15, 10:30, something like that. And a lot of that is just because we're promoting a new record, and we want to get more people out. And I think also the kind of music that we play suits itself a little bit more to an earlier listening crowd than just
we draw a wide range of fan base wise.
Right.
Older crowd, younger crowd as well.
Yeah, that's new and it's interesting, and I think it works. To play earlier. When you guys play at places like Club Cafe. Mm-hmm. What are those shows like? When there's like an 8 o'clock show there.
They do an early and a late show typically.
Yeah.
So the early show would be from like 7 to 9:30, and then the late show starts at like 10:30.
It's like a listening show, where you just want to sit and listen. And
more so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think that that's the atmosphere we're going to try to cultivate on Friday's show. And it works. When you're a singer songwriter. And you're doing songs primarily based around lyrics. That's
you want people.
Paying attention is important,
right?
Exactly.
Well, the lyrics are important. You want people to listen to them, right?
Yeah.
How about another song?
Yeah, sure. We can do "Lucky
play?
You,"
okay,
which is the title track. Lucky you, you saw right through. You had to do what you had to do, and with a skill I have by very few. Lucky you, lucky you, lucky you, you played it right. Night on time, night after night, against all odds, and with great insight. Lucky you, lucky Lucky me, I guess I see that others pass, it just has to be. It has to be, and I guess I'm free. Lucky me, lucky me, lucky me, lucky me.
Wonderful. Timos Papadimas. Guy DeStolfo co-hosting, and of course Kendra doing wonderful video as always.
All right.
Very, very distinctive sound you guys have.
Well, thank you.
And I think I want to say that I believe Caitlin is in the Youngstown Symphony Orchestra.
Did you play with the Youngstown Symphony?
Okay.
You do.
And many other.
Yeah,
Orchestras as well, right?
I play with Greenville Symphony.
Okay.
Assistant concertmaster over there. We just had our Christmas concert. But this is, I grew up playing classical music and fiddle simultaneously. I got to Youngstown. I went to YSU for my master's in classical violin. And then I found these guys, or they found me, or something. And it's awesome. I have so much fun with them, and it's kind of an outlet for me to get to play my fiddle stuff and improvise. And
When you play with these guys, do you use that same violin?
I do.
Okay, so that,
Yes, I do.
That plays both classical music and
This is my multi-purpose instrument. Yes,
It could be both a violin and
a fiddle. Oh, it's
Yeah.
I know, you can't even tell them apart.
it's
Yeah,
actually
right.
it's a Baroque instrument, so it's from the 1700s.
What?
It's what?
It's from the 1700s.
Like not that particular one.
This one.
Wow.
And it's got a really interesting mellow sound, which doesn't carry as a solo instrument in a huge hall.
Are-
But yeah.
You're saying that particular thing in your hand
Yes.
is
It's
like
Where did you
300
find that?
Wow.
How did you acquire that?
A past teacher, actually, she had it, and she wanted someone to play it who would appreciate it.
Wow.
And it really works for both, I think. So, yeah.
wow, my goodness.
Wow, that's incredible. That's
It's a good old fiddle, yeah.
I
The
guess.
Stradivariuses have been gifted to talented musicians, despite the ownership of whoever owns that violin. So that's a tradition of gifting a very special instrument to this very special musician. You know, I'm pretty right about that.
You are right.
They are all the Stradivariuses are accounted for, and they
They
know
are.
whose hands they're in, and they're in musicians' hands. They're not in museums.
Yes. If
Yeah.
only this was a Stradivarius.
Did not know that.
If only.
Yeah,
If only.
that's you.
It's
If
good
it was a
enough.
Stradivarius, you wouldn't be here with it right now, or would you be?
You never know.
Why not?
Why not?
Might be.
Yeah.
Too
We're
right.
worth it. We're worth a Stradivarius, right?
Be hanging up
I think they're worth it too.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah,
thinking
we're all
about that. I was thinking of
Dave, if only you had that Gibson Modern that they haven't been able to come up with yet to find. You ever hear the Modern, the Gibson? They made, I think in the 50s or a guitar that they've got the patent pictures of it, but I don't think they've ever.
Oh, never found
So
out.
under somebody's bed is an electric guitar that's worth. I don't know.
Amazing.
Well, that's where you got
Millions of
most
dollars.
of these instruments were.
I can assure you it's not
Many of
under
them
mine.
up
I
in
can assure you it's not under mine. Well, go ahead.
Well, you know, you guys have so much experience cumulatively between you all, and I know that Dave is in about 17
I'm-
different bands.
Nowadays, I'm just with Demos, and I play some jazz gigs around town. But I stopped that
Yeah.
practice of being in everyone's
there was a
band.
time
you were out of control there for
I was. I had to do it.
Playing in a lot of different. You were
Concentrate.
because
You
you.
have to do what
I just had a hard time saying no to people, and I everybody was asking me to do stuff. I was just doing stuff I really wanted to do, and it just seemed I couldn't believe most. I think one weekend I played like 6 gigs in 3 days or something, but somehow it all worked out in the schedule.
Right.
And I don't think I really even I think I've actually made most of the gigs with all the bands.
So
Right.
what's the chemistry with Demos? Would you say, Dave?
Well, Demos is very patient. You know, he's a great. He's got a lot of great leadership skills that make it very comfortable to be creative in the group. And I don't think I've ever really seen him mad in a rehearsal. You get the guy like the leader of the group's like yelling at everybody, and he's like this tortured artist or something. But that's not.
I just
guy's
yell when I
very-
go home.
Yeah, he yells at. He yells at.
I
the car,
keep it
rolls up
personal.
the windows. and screams into the steering wheel, but we don't see that, so, which I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think Demos is a perfectionist though, because I remember one time when you guys played at the B&O Outdoors, and I think that might have been your first gig with them.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
That
It was like
Fusion Fest.
after the
Fusion
show, I
Fest.
said, "Man, that sounded great," and he was like, "Oh, it was terrible. We sounded terrible." Remember that?
Right.
You were totally unhappy.
Yeah, I was. I didn't think the sound was good, but there were other issues going on. But
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot to go wrong in a musical performance. I mean, the amount of notes, the just the focus and concentration. I mean, 100% A without missing, valedictorian kind of performance where you don't get 1 point off for anything is that's really hard. And I mean, you play with concert musicians, and you guys probably hear the little its and glips, and that's some of the highest level that you could pay for sometimes. And
Nobody hears it in the audience.
but see, we all feel it, so it's actually. I mean, this guy is a bit of a perfectionist, but in a healthy way. Like, meaning, like he's perfectionist, but he
perfectionist. I
doesn't
like
brute
that.
us with the perfectionism.
Yeah.
He was always workable, but that is an anxiety that I think is really hard. It's hard for us. It happened. The moment's over. You missed the note. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to somehow
Go
emotionally
forward.
deal with that. That's how music just works over time, and there's no way going
Yeah.
back. A painting you could fix the next day. You could,
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of perfection, I mean, you can re-record songs, so there's that as well.
Well, but a live
And
performance-
not with live
Yeah,
performance, but that's the nice thing about doing a record. I mean, the first song we played here is still the same. We did 3 versions of that song
right.
before it was right, and I mean, changing the tempo, and of course, I mean, when you're recording in the studio, unless you're doing live takes, it's a different process than just everybody walks into a room and plays the song and gets that magic take. But because you do everything separately, you do the drums and you track the guitars separately and vocals and all that. But
But
I
at
mean-
the same time, when you do the live recording,
yeah,
there's something just very raw about it that people appreciate.
oh, absolutely, and that's how I mean a lot of
the
other
mistakes sometimes even. I mean,
right. Well, that's how they used to do it on old records. I mean, but I mean even some of my earlier stuff was all done live in the room, like Wandering Through the Wilderness. Most of the songs on that. But and on this record, I mean, we do have one live track, so you do get to hear that live energy. Speaking of that,
Hey, quick question about that the Greek songs that you were talking
Yeah.
about. Like what?
we'll do one of those too.
What?
Good.
Yeah, please do.
That'd be great, yeah.
The Bouzouki is here.
Yeah, right.
But what that could open up you to a whole new range of shows, like in
Right.
specialty audiences and.
I want some ethnic fest action.
Yeah, I mean,
Youngstown's
that'd be great.
become like the capital of ethnic fests in the summertime.
Pretty much, yeah.
Italian, Slovak, Greek, and I'd like us to be part of as many of those as we could be a part of.
Yeah, and I think with the Bouzouki
why
and
not?
the Greek, yeah.
You'd fit
Maybe
in
it's my
and
perfection that keeps me from doing that.
Well, I think
Why is that,
Yeah.
Timo? Why?
Well, no, I mean, I think that, I'm interested. I mean, I play a little bouzouki. It's an element, I'm interested, I'm very interested in folk music and roots music. I'm Greek American, so I have the American side, and I want to bring the Greek flavor to that as well. But I'm a little hesitant to just jump right into doing Greek music because I think it works better as like a component of my own sound. Do you know what I mean?
As opposed to
just
jumping in and doing it all.
just marketing myself as sort of doing Greek folk music, or do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
And that's why I do want to work on some recordings and see kind of where that takes us.
So what are you going to play? Tell us.
This will be an old song written by Vasilis Titsanis. He was a Greek bouzouki player and songwriter. He died in the 80s. I mean, he wrote most of the songs 40s, 50s, 60s. So we'll do one of his songs.
πάντα στον ίδιο το σκοπό. Φέρτε μου να πιω το ακριβότερο πιωτό, εγώ πληρώνω τα μάτια που αγαπώ. Φέρτε μου να πιω το ακριβότερο πιωτό, εγώ πληρώνω τα μάτια που αγαπώ. Τα βερναρί, να σπάω να παραμιλώ. Μη με κατακρίνεις, μη με παίρνεις για τρελό, εγώ πληρώνω τα μάτια που αγαπώ. Μη με κατακρίνεις, μη με παίρνεις για τρελό, εγώ πληρώνω τα μάτια που αγαπώ.
Right, that's great.
Thank you,
That's
thank
great.
you.
What kind of response when you play, or when you're doing a gig and you play one of the Greek songs? What kind
people
of response?
really respond to it. I mean, people. Yeah, they do. I mean, it's something very different. I mean, you're doing this kind of rootsy folk Americana thing, and then midway through the set, we usually, I'd usually go, we're gonna do a little quick instrument switch up here, and I mean, audiences, even if they're into a show, if they don't know the band, it's always more interesting to see how they respond to it, because you watch a band for about half an hour and you think, okay, I get it, I see what they're doing, and then when you pull out a bouzouki and start playing songs like that, well, that kind of
changes.
It's a curveball,
but a great one.
Oh yeah, and I like that. I mean, I've always felt that way, and I want to be doing more, incorporating more of the Greek music into what I do. But I always felt that as a musician, as a roots musician, I wanted to do blues and folk and bluegrassy and kind of countryish kind of stuff. But I thought, well, we've got to do something a little more interesting and throw in some other influence there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Is the bouzouki a double-stringed instrument there?
It is. It's four double strings, tuned C, F, A, D. And it's technically a lute. I mean, it's in the lute family,
I was noticing Caitlin was plucking the violin strings there like a
Pizzicato.
like a pizzicato. Yeah, that's the word for it. Well, I'm going to ask this question because it seems appropriate. But you guys are so down the folk and traditional range. It's modern. But what is your stance on pop music? And do you guys listen to a lot of the very newest stuff? I didn't think so.
I mean,
Typically.
I'm listening. No, not really.
like the whole world has gone so electronic,
right?
And you guys are like pulling out. There's two instruments here that are 500 years old,
Right.
literally.
Well, this one isn't literally 500 years old.
Well, this one is literally.
Yeah, that one literally is from the Baroque era.
Well, I would love to have an opportunity to experiment with